Okay, great. So we're recording now. So can we start by first all agreeing that we can share this video publicly with a thumbs up? Tatiana? Great, thank you. Okay, awesome. Great. Well, first of all, just to start with, I just want to start by saying, while we're personally, I think all of us disappointed, Rebbe, that you won't be continuing. We're happy for you for the expansion that it's creating for you. We really appreciate the way that you jumped right in and all of the interest and energy that you brought to the team. So obviously disappointing not to continue and be able to have the whole experience that we're imagining, and know that all is perfect somehow in the end. So thank you again for all that you've brought already, and also for clarifying that you do want to support this week and next week as well, and that's great. We really appreciate it. So thank you for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for understanding. It was a bummer to kind of find out. I was like, I mean, not a, it's bittersweet to have this new opportunity and being like, oh, I just don't think I have the capacity to do all of this at the moment. But thank you all so much. And yeah, I wanted to at least give 2 weeks of, I made a commitment, and I definitely didn't just want to up and leave. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. So
Great. Yeah, we appreciate it as well. And I don't know, Cassidy, if you put it into the agenda, I didn't look, but I'd like to spend some time tonight, talking about brainstorming, like knowing that Rebbe has, around in the neighborhood of 10 hours over the next couple of weeks to offer what is the most efficient and most effective way to use that time. What can we do? What can we do to not be creating additional overhead of learning so much, but more of like diving in and doing something, whether it's specific to the University of Miami as an example, and doing some network building or creating or whatever that looks like. I've even, and I'll just use this as a preview, and then we'll dive into your agenda, Cassidy, but I've even been thinking about things that I might do on the University of Miami campus myself, just to create some interest and create some recruitment there, right? Like even potentially, I don't know, Rebbe, you can say if you think that it might be interesting or effective. I'm trying to think now. Your class was actually the virtual class that I presented to Dr. Brown's other class, which was an in-person class. I don't know if you're familiar. And I was imagining creating an invitation, potentially. I haven't talked to him about this, whether he thinks it's a good idea, but I was imagining perhaps creating an invitation where, like, immediately following Dr. Brown's class, that like those that are interested from that class, like join me in the courtyard right afterwards to have like an open, like question answer, exchange, and just, start to have more of a rapport and connection with more of the students, and see if there's any, potential interest in becoming a part of the project, and just being potentially a little bit more hands-on and proactive with the recruitment. And then also, again, thinking about whether there's any student group meetings, events, like all kinds of different ways that we could be being much more proactive, kind of like ISA2 had been, in terms of finding students, connecting with students, presenting the opportunity, all of that. So I just want to throw all of that out there to help, kind of with the context for tonight's meeting. And then, having said that, let me go ahead and let Cassidy take it away, and then we'll circle back to some of these things and kind of see where we go with the whole conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. So let me jump in. to the agenda. I have kind of a lot to cover, but hopefully it doesn't take too long for each section, but we'll just kind of see. So first, I just wanted to follow up with the HubSpot migration. I know, Tatiana, you had sent some messages last week, so I wanted to see. I still haven't gotten any more response, minus the one negative and one positive one I got. So just wanted to touch base and see if you had received anything in addition.
Yes. So what ended up happening is that I did get some messages. I don't remember how many. I think it might have been a couple, actually, like 3. One of them we were denied because they stated that they didn't really give a reason, but they said they had the right to deny whatever postings they wanted to. So we were like, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
And the other ones, a lot of the other ones they requested more information regarding what kind of position it is that you're exactly hiring for, which kind of brought me to a point where it's really important that we should have like individual postings, because one of them even mentioned that it was a great overview of the entire organization, but it didn't provide enough insight of the day-to-day like review of what you do as a intern. So that was one of the throwbacks.
So kind of
And then
guiding into our team. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, and then hopefully I was thinking we can finalize everything, all of our job postings, and I could send it directly to them.
For the different
was it.
teams, you mean?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate that. You know, I was thinking a little bit more. I don't know if the one you just mentioned falls into the category. We'll have to see. But you know, the Wayne state, was it, that we saw last week that just said don't contact us anymore?
That was a right state, I believe.
Right state. Okay, thank you. I actually wonder if that works within the terms of service for Handshake, because as long as we're in a denial mode by them, they're actually hurting our reputation score. And for us to not have any recourse for that does not seem appropriate. So I think that there may be some terms of use that they actually have to follow, in terms of if they're going to provide a denial, then they have to give us, you know, the ability to address that, or turn our denial into a pending or something. I mean, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it now, but I'm wondering if that really is the end of the story. Like, hey, we're denying you and you just have to live with it, type of thing.
Or if they can go back to like maybe like a neutral, where it's just like no relationship and we sort of break ties, but it's not affecting us negatively anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think it's appropriate for any organization to be, you know, pulling our reputation score down and not giving us any ability to address that. That does not seem like it's the intended use of the system. So again, we've got a lot of other places to put our time and energy right now, in terms of, you know, we don't have to focus on that so much. But I think that if it continues, especially if it continues to be a pattern, I don't know if the one Tatiana just mentioned falls into that pattern, like, you know, what you just said in terms of we have the right to deny you or whatever. Okay, yes, but we have the, you know, whatever. We'll have to see where we can go with that. But getting to what you were asking, Cassidy, in terms of like the hearing back, and I don't know, maybe this is on another part of the agenda, but I'm also, you know, curious to know about the responsiveness from the HubSpot or the Handshake messages themselves. Are you handling?
That was my next
Okay.
next, but we can segue into it because that was the very next thing. So
yeah, well, what do you want to say about it, Cassidy? Let you start with it.
Well, first, I just wanted to, follow up and see. I know I sent about 10 last week, and wanted to see, you know, how the comments were, if they were responding, and if we were ready to send more. I know I got one comment back saying that, you know, they were following the vaccine considerations project closely and liked what we had done. And then went ahead and approved us and provided a another form of contact, another, I think it was like their practicum office contacts email to follow up with. So it was, you know, that comment back was really good.
Yeah, that's great. That's very positive, and wonderful. So the question I have in terms of like, when Rebe had originally mentioned that she had sent 10 messages, I was trying to find like how I saw which one she sent. I was trying to find it through Handshake and through HubSpot. So I don't know, Cassidy, if there's a way, like, especially in particular on Handshake, I wasn't clear how I could even see, you know, like who were the ones that we recently sent messages to. Like, is there any way to filter for recency around messages or anything like that? You know, the best I could tell is I would need to know which school I was looking to see if we had sent a message. And the only way I would know which school we had sent a message to is if it was marked in HubSpot. And so I wasn't sure if we had a standard procedure for how we were marking things in HubSpot that we had sent a message via Handshake.
I don't think I created any, or no, I didn't create anything in HubSpot for that, but I'm happy to create another field where we can, you know, say followed up in Handshake and check yes or no. That's surprising that there's no easy way to find that in Handshake, but I will add a field and also.
And I'm not sure that there's not. I couldn't find it just by like poking around, but I didn't do a you know, like a extensive search or a Google search or try to find any tutorials, because again, honestly, that's where I want you guys to take on that level of expertise and just show me the answer rather than me do the research for it. So yeah, I'm not sure, but I couldn't find it in Handshake. Then in HubSpot, it's possible that it should maybe be a field. I'm not sure if it should be a field or if it just needs to be like a note with a certain code or something. I'm not sure the best way to handle it, but there needs to be some way that, you know, when Rebe tells me that they sent, you know, 10 messages, that I can go into HubSpot and find those 10 schools like at the top of the list because they're the most recently active, at least, or something like that, right? So I don't know, again, Cassidy, when you sent yours, did you do something specific in HubSpot that would designate that those were the ones that got sent the messages and on what days? And again, I just want to try to standardize how we're tracking this and then how each of us can go in and see what was done.
I think I copied and pasted it into a note, or no, I recall. I put a note in HubSpot for the schools saying followed up via Handshake with the date, since I just copied and pasted that same email. So that's how I did it for myself. I just put a quick little note that said I followed up. So
okay, good. So then once you followed up, how would we know if they replied to your follow-up?
So that is something that I was curious about as well, because for me and the school that replied to me, I got a comment notification in Handshake, but I didn't get like an email or anything. And I don't know if you're notified when I get that or if it's just me, and if that's like a setting thing we can. Okay, so I got an email to my school email actually.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. So you got a comment notification. So yes. Let's see. All right, so maybe I got comment notifications too. Okay. Hey, we got approved by someone else, if that's new. Okay.
Oh, so, I think that was the one that responded to me, that very top one.
Okay.
Yes, that's who responded to me.
Okay. So these also don't seem to have any dates associated with them, do they? These are just like notifications. We don't know when they're from or anything.
It looks like they have the dates right there.
Oh, those are okay. Yes. Okay, there's no date on this one. That one has a date. There's no date on this one. There's no date on this one. So it looks like when you've been approved, there's not a date. When you are declined, there's a date. That's weird. But it doesn't look like there's notifications about anything other than approved and declines, at least here. There's no.
So I did like a quick search, and I saw that if you go to your like notification preferences, your settings, you're able to look at all the different notifications you can get either through like your email.
Okay. So I just have to change all the notification preferences here.
So yeah, you can just go through and select which ones you want.
Okay, got it. Okay, so it's under notification preferences. Okay, very good. Okay, so I'll go into that later. So it would seem then that if the notification preferences are set properly, then when we get some kind of comment response, then I should get notified. So it looks like that is the solution for that. Okay. Okay, and then again, just to get back and finish up. So Cassidy, you put in the notes, I sent such and such via comments. And so I guess if what you did ought to be the standard, then I guess we should have like a quick tutorial on that. And then that should be like the procedure, so that as other people are being tasked with it, doing something similar, they know exactly what they should be entering to say they did it, right? Because that was, again, I'm still not totally clear from my communication, Rebbe, with you. Did you end up sending comments to the schools like what Cassidy is talking about? Okay, but you hadn't been necessarily given instructions like you should mark it in the notes about, what you did or how you did it, right?
So no, I did ended up going back and adding notes on, yes, they've been emailed by me, and I did put dates. Yeah, so is that, I thought that was it.
Yeah, so you did, yeah, so you did it afterwards, right? After we talked about it, to make it known in there. So I think it's just a matter, Cassidy, of just having the what the procedure needs to be for that specified in advance, so that, as we're doing it again, we've got it consistent within HubSpot. And potentially some way, and maybe this is where it does need to be a field, is for us to potentially be able to do some query, which ones have been sent a message through Handshake and which ones still yet need to be sent a message through Handshake, right? It seems like maybe we do need to be able to query that within our HubSpot. What do you think about that, Cassidy?
Would it be helpful to have like a date field? So it's like message sent and Handshake and then the date, so we know anything that doesn't have a date hasn't been sent one, and then we can sort it by date as well. Would that be helpful? Or do you think it should just be a checkbox, yes or no?
Yeah, no, no, I like the idea of a date, in terms of, you're saying like sent, last sent comment via Handshake.
And then having it be a date, so that we know obviously anything with no date means they've never had anything, and then we can keep track of it that way. And then anything that does have a date in, we can open up and look at the notes and see what was said.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it.
Okay, and I just added that tutorial to that list that I made last week, so I will put that on my to-do list.
Okay, great. Any other comments, Tatiana or Rebbe, about that in terms of having that work out right? Nope. Okay, good. Okay, great. I'll let you continue with your packed agenda, Cassidy.
Okay, let's see. So next I wanted to talk about all of the postings that all of the teams made. Some of them are a little bit more thorough than others. I haven't had a chance to really go in and edit and like provide feedback. But for instance, I'd say that the one the research team made is probably the most detailed. It's in a really nice format, very appealing. So it looks like you can tell that some of this is pulled obviously from the main one, but that's, you know, got all the nitty gritty details. But then I think it was one of these that are just sort of really short and very brief. So I think we definitely need to spruce these up so that it can be a little bit more clear as far as, you know, details that were added in the research team one that sort of apply to everybody, especially if, like we mentioned, we were going to be sending these out separately. So just wanted everybody's thoughts and, you know, if we wanted to, as a team, decide when we could get these finals, because I don't know, Jared, when you would be ready for us to start posting things on Handshake again. I think time is definitely of the essence as far as that. So just wanted to touch base on that.
Yeah, I would really like to be posting our new things on Handshake like ASAP. And I've also been thinking about how to get some of the feedback that we've been talking about from some of the different offices, which is part of why I wanted to show you guys, Tatiana and Cassidy. I know, Rebbe, you didn't get to see it, but let me go ahead and share the link of what I shared with the executive team just before this. Well, if you just go to our homepage, actually, it's got this new video that I just added today. Okay, so that video on the homepage is just like a quick overview of Uniting for Action. And what I've been imagining, because there's more details, that's just the beginning part. And I'm going to share with you guys as we go in deeper in the meeting past the rest of the agenda items. I'm going to get to some of the things that I've been thinking about and working on in terms of more content to provide to career services offices and to job seekers and that sort of thing. But I'm imagining us having like almost like a packaged presentation for the career services offices where we ask them for like a half-hour meeting, and we have like the first 10 minutes of it are like almost like a canned presentation. Not that it, you know, well, let's say a prepared presentation, right, with some slides and just a quick overview of Uniting for Action and what we're offering and all of that sort of thing, so that we can be in conversation with the office and like reach out to those offices like this week. So that's the thing, is like I'm imagining working on setting up meetings with targeted career services offices. So let's say Colorado School of Public Health, University of Miami, Ohio State University, Drexel, Rollins. I guess we should do yours, Tatiana, since you're here. You've been the only person from your school, but we've got a track record with your school with you. So, I mean, that's the thing, is especially the schools that we've hosted students for, and in particular schools that we've you know, had students fulfill their practicum or capstone requirements with us, so we know that their school already, you know, has some warm feelings about us, that we've, you know, managed their students well and they're happy. Let's set up those meetings like ASAP, and we won't necessarily have all of the postings done yet, but maybe we can have some of them done, and also, you know, present to them what we're doing and ask them, you know, now that you know what we're doing, how can we recruit your students? You know, what do we need to give you? What job postings do we need to put together? what can we send, via your newsletter, and just have them help us do it, have them help us through the process more, and not be waiting for us to get to some perfect result that we want to present to them, but rather, get in with them earlier so that we can start to essentially work with them as partners in reaching their students, right? To get them really like excited about what we're doing, to have them understand the groundbreaking nature of what we're doing, which I think it, might need a personal conversation and a personal presentation of this to transmit the energy and for them to get it. And then, they'll be more interested in helping us to figure out how to reach their students. They'll want their students to be a part of what we're doing, is really the idea. So what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So do you have availability this week? I know we had talked about me emailing our career services office last week, but I sort of held off because I didn't want to just CC you on an email and invite somebody to have a meeting with you if I didn't know when you were available.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that. Yeah, we do need to schedule it specifically because I don't have a tremendous amount of flexibility this week. I do have a lot of things I need to do, but I do think that pretty much any time on Friday is open. And well, I shouldn't say that. Let's say it's not any time at the moment, although let me think real quick. I have to check because I was working on setting up a breakfast with my dad. I can't remember if it was Friday or Saturday. Let me see. We have Friday right now. All right, I'm gonna have to check with my dad and see. So let's say at least after 2 p.m. Let's say at least after 2:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday, and perhaps sometime on Thursday, perhaps sometime on Wednesday. Well, will we have it ready by then? I think what we should do is I think we should email the schools that we want to target and ask them for some windows of availability this week and next.
okay.
For us to have like a half-hour meeting with them where we're sharing with them what we're up to and looking for guidance about how to best reach their students by a handshake and other means. So I think if the team, you guys want to come up with some kind of draft email to send to those offices, then I can review that and approve it, and we can send that out and get their responses. And I think it's really just kind of a question of if they say, well, what can you send us now, or what can we look at? I guess we may be ready by tomorrow. I have some plans of some ways that I want to further improve the website and add stuff, and I'll share some of that tonight with you. Let's hold off on the timing. Let's create the draft of that email, and then maybe we can send it tomorrow. Maybe we'll send it on Wednesday at the latest. How's that? Does that work for you guys?
Yeah.
I have a question. So this is different than reaching out to the career offices in regards to internships or capstones, correct?
No, it is that.
It is that. Oh, okay. That's good.
What were you thinking different?
Sorry, I thought we were reaching out to see so they can give us advice on how to better reach their students.
That's true. But to help us,
I guess they do go hand in hand.
yeah, but in particular for them to help us craft the job postings and our strategy for reaching their students about they're about practicum opportunities and capstone opportunities and that sort of thing.
Okay, excellent. Because I did contact the career services person for my school, and I did get a response back. And so I CC'd you.
Oh, great. I didn't even see
Yeah.
that.
So
Did you
would
do
you
that
like me to
today?
share my screen?
Sure.
Okay, excellent. So I'm sorry, I didn't know if that it was too premature for me to have reached out to her.
Might have been. We'll see.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to make it bigger. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can.
Okay. Got it. All right. So this, okay. So this is Megan, who we did have previous contact with. You have a-
Mhm.
Oh, her last day. Okay. So we're going to have a new person there. Not sure how attendance will be. Oh, so were you asking, can I see what you sent to them?
Here, I can. Yeah, absolutely. Because sorry, I think based on last meeting, I was like, oh, okay, so we need to reach out to career offices people and ask about internships / capstones, how we can, get students, especially the term, if, people at this time are thinking about that. So this is what I said.
Yeah. Okay. So you were asking specifically about having an internship capstone showcase. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Which is what we did last year when Mustafa ended up joining us from the showcase that we had with the University of Miami. So, but what they did last year was they invited us to an existing showcase that they had with a bunch of different institutions. So do you happen to know if they've already done that, Rebe? Or if they just have it on?
Yeah, it's a continuing thing. I keep seeing emails from them. They try to group them kind of by things that are like to each other, internships that are like to each other, for example, like finance, to give you an example, or technology sort of thing.
Okay, so this is something they do like every couple of weeks or something like that usually?
Yeah, I would say they've been doing it, yeah, fairly often. Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. And so you were asking specifically about that. Okay, got it. And so we see what they said. Okay, so I think that's fine. We can kind of follow up with them. Do you have a day in mind? She recommends the weeks of November 29th or December 6th. And so, okay, I think, well, the distinction here is this is about, in this case, it's about doing a showcase with them, different from what we were talking about in terms of just setting up a meeting with the Career Services Office to get feedback from them and that sort of thing, which I think we want to do with them anyhow, and especially since Megan is leaving and the new person is coming on, that we should probably have an introductory, meeting with the new person to kind of let them know about our history with the University of Miami and get them, on board as an ally quickly, so that as that person's getting into the position and making connections, and that they're directing students to us essentially. So I think let's, I think it's perfect what you did. I'll follow up by replying to the CC, what she said. I'll think about it a little bit more. Cassidy and Tatiana, what are your thoughts about, setting up a meeting with them, following up on creating a showcase? Showcase is what we did last time. Was basically, last time I did it, I was one of 3 or 4 different companies that were being a part of this showcase, where basically we each had like 10 or 15 minutes to share about the opportunity with our organization. And then after all 4 organizations had shared, then they did breakout rooms where the students that were interested in yours could go and have a conversation with you about it. So that was the format that we did last year, just to give you an idea of the showcase. And I don't know if that's like typical at schools. Are you guys familiar with that format at your school or other schools?
Yeah, I know the Colorado School of Public Health had one, but I think it was in the springtime. I don't remember having one like in the fall. I can definitely look around on our website and see if I can find anything, but I know we definitely had a remote one sometime in like March.
Yeah, I think again, the main thing at the moment is for us to have this introductory meeting with the other ones. With the University of Miami, we have a history there. With the other schools, we don't have so much of a rapport with the Career Services Office. And I think, you know, Rebe, for this one, I'll follow up and start to create this relationship with the new person so that we can start to be, you know, getting connected and having something there. But it's great that you just, you know, took the initiative to go with it. It's perfect. I'm glad that we're got the ball rolling there. So that's great. Okay, I know we're getting pretty far along in our meeting, and I'm imagining you still have some things, and then there's still some things I want to share. So I think we've covered it for now. Let's identify. So I don't know if you got them down, Cassidy. And by the way, I didn't ask, I don't know, who's taking minutes for the, oh, Rebe is taking minutes, right? I forgot you had said that. Okay, perfect. So for the minutes, if you didn't catch it, let's get these down is the different universities. So University of Miami, Colorado School of Public Health, Drexel University, Rollins School of Public Health, Ohio State University, University of Massachusetts at Amherst. Is that your school, Tatiana? Okay.
Yes.
And I think those are the main ones that are coming to the top of my head of ones that we've done, except for Tatiana's done like formal internships with. We didn't do any paperwork for you, right, Tatiana? You didn't have paperwork, right? Okay. So, okay, so those are the schools that we'll follow up with. We're going to create the draft email. I'm going to go over the draft email and then figure out if we're going to send that either tomorrow or Wednesday. And then we'll set up these meetings with these schools and take steps to figure out how to best recruit their students, basically. Okay, that sound good to everybody? Any questions, comments? Yeah. Do
we want to prioritize that over finalizing any job postings that we can put on Handshake? Are we just going to push that off again? I'm just getting worried because that could get us a lot of foot traffic.
Yeah, the finalizing the job postings, that's what you guys are going to be working on. What we just described isn't going to require much work on your part. At the most, it's just going to be sending an email or two, right?
Okay, so you don't want us to partake in creating like slides or anything like that for your presentation? You'll handle that for like, you know, you'd mentioned you'd do like a 10-minute presentation and then talk to them. Is that something we need to put hours into, or?
I think right now the priority for this team is the job postings. So I think you can add it to our to-do list, like the presentation, but we're not going to necessarily allocate hours to that right now.
Okay.
We'll take a look at the hours that we have available, but I think with the hours that we each have, I think you're each at like 4 or 5 hours for the week, right? Isn't that where everybody's at for the week? So yeah, let's focus on getting our job postings really good for not only the teams, but there's a whole bunch of other specific job postings that we want to create that I'll share as well.
Okay, so do do we want to set a deadline for the team job postings like that we can edit and have the other teams follow up on? I just feel like we need to get something on Handshake really soon.
For sure, for sure. Yes. So yes, let's set that. Let's set deadlines for everything. Let's keep our time frame as tight as we can for everything, for sure.
Okay, so do we want to set a deadline now?
Yes.
Okay, because I know I looked at the recruitment team one, and I think that is looking really good. Thank you for your comments, Tatiana. I saw those. And I think that the research team one is looking pretty good too. I think the ones that need the most work are production and outreach. Oh yeah, and the business team one looks great too, Tatiana. But I think production and outreach are both pretty small, just a couple bullet points, and they're not very detailed. So I think those ones need the.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we send the other ones back to the production and outreach team and show them the good models and tell them we want theirs to be more like those so that we can have them do a little more work on it?
I had a question. Would it be possible to just like have each job description follow a similar format, and then for the like responsibilities, send that back to each respective team so that they're able to edit it to have like a more comprehensive, you know, like responsibility?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should definitely have the templated job description, job posting for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been an expectation. I think that's where we've been heading with things, right, Cassidy, in terms of like, we're going to get some kind of standard format that will fit each one into.
Yeah, and it looks like the business team and the research team and the recruitment team followed a fairly standard format, but I can create a skeleton format to send to them, as well as sending them the examples so that they can make sure to be following it.
Okay, great. Thanks for bringing that up, Tatiana.
So should we say by the team meeting on Thursday to have these done? I know everybody has other stuff. I want to get these posted really soon.
Yeah, I do too. And that's where I think, I mean, looking at them, do you feel like, again, given the feedback that we've gotten from different schools about needing to be very specific and all of that, do you feel like these are specific enough that they're going to think that these are the ones we should post? I guess we're not going to know until we try, right? Let's just try and see what happens. If schools are having problems with them, then we'll address the problems. But yeah, I feel like we just need to start posting something at this point so we get some students.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that breaking them down into the specific teams will help immensely, because it gives a more tangible idea of what your role would be on the team versus like, it's very like nice to say, oh, well, with Uniting for Action, you could do pretty much anything. But I think sometimes that's overwhelming and people are like, I don't know what that means. So I think it will be
I understand
helpful.
that. And that's where I'm working on some of that communication to get that more clear, and we'll be adding that. But I agree that, you know, and that's where actually, you know, given we're going to set the deadline for Thursday for the other teams, but I feel like between the recruitment team and the business team, we could potentially, if you feel those are really close, maybe we can post those as soon as tomorrow or Wednesday. I mean, where do you guys feel like we're at in terms of readiness on the recruitment and business teams, and potentially the research team, if that's far enough along as well?
I think they look really good. I would want to go through it just like maybe one more time each with a finer tooth comb, and then have you look at it. I mean, they're definitely a lot shorter than anyone we've ever had before, which I think is sort of helpful because it's compact. And again, because we're breaking it into the teams, it makes sense that it would be shorter.
Okay, so when would you feel that you'd have like the final version that you and the rest of the team would want to give to me to look over and then, you know, take it from there?
I won't have any time to work on this until tomorrow when I'm off of work. So I would say, you know, sometime on Wednesday, I would be able to do it. I don't know about Tatiana. I have a bunch to do tonight after we're done, and then I have to work all day tomorrow. So
Yeah, I'm on a similar boat. So I think possibly by Wednesday it'll be fine.
How about you, Rebbe?
I can definitely help with that tomorrow. Tomorrow I have some time off. I would just have to be shown like where this stuff lives. Does that
yeah,
make sense?
everything
Thank
is
you.
linked. Everything is linked in the agenda right here too. If you see like individual job postings and then recruitment team, business team, those are
Oh, I
all the
see.
links. Yeah, so those are all linked. So if you click on them, it'll bring you right to the job posting.
Okay, so I just need to make sure that they're a little more specific and robust.
I would focus on the recruitment, business, and research teams and adding comments. I'm going to reach out separately to the outreach and production teams about adding more. So I don't think we need to focus on them. I think that the closest ones would be recruitment, business, and research for being ready to post.
In terms of just like final polish, right? Is what
Yeah.
you're looking for from Rebbe.
Yeah, it might be too difficult to add more details for the outreach and production for really any of us because we're not on those teams. So it might be a little tricky to finalize those since we just don't know the day in and day out sort of nitty gritty specifics of what they do.
Okay, sounds good. So what time on Wednesday works for you two, Cassidy and Tatiana, to have it finalized by?
Probably Wednesday morning, like 11 a.m. Eastern.
My goal would be to do it all tomorrow night. So I don't know, midnight.
Oh yeah, that also
Like,
that can also work for me.
I just won't be able to work on it in the morning because I'll be at work. So I would plan on doing it all tomorrow night.
Okay, and you said that works for you as well, Tatiana? Okay, so you want to say by midnight Eastern tomorrow? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And that'll go in the minutes too, Rebbe. And also, Rebbe, we're going to add a new section to the minutes called the assignments section. So the assignments are any specific assignments like we just covered to go into the assignments section.
Okay, is that different from the weekly priorities?
Yeah, we're going to make a new section in between the weekly priorities and the minutes. And it's going to be called the assignments. And in the assignments section, it's going to have what the assignment is and who's assigned to it. So in this case, the assignment is polishing the 3 different descriptions, and all 3 of you are assigned to it. And it's going to be done by midnight Eastern tomorrow.
And this job descriptions were the research, recruitment, and production, correct?
No, research, recruitment, and business. Since Tatiana is the business team at this point.
So I have a lot more, but we are like really close to the end of our meeting. So I don't know, Jared, if you want to.
Can you share it, Cassidy, your screen, so we can look at what more is left and see what there is, what we can cover in the time we have left?
So we're right here.
Okay, testimonial and exit interview, tutorial list, brainstorm. Okay. Okay, and I wanted to basically share a little bit more of the specifics of some of the things. So how are you guys? We want to definitely finish up pretty quickly. Are you guys okay to run over a little bit of time, or does anybody have a hard stop right now?
I can stay for, until 8:40.
Till 8:40?
Yes, I can say around 8:35, 8:40 around there.
Yeah, same. I could say a couple more minutes as well.
Okay. All right. So Cassidy, can you finish up in 5 minutes, and then I'll say what I want to say in 3 minutes?
Yeah. And some of this we can also just follow up in the chat, and then I'll just prioritize for next week. Because I think that these job postings are definitely going to need to be our priority. But if we're finished with them by midnight tomorrow, then we'll have more time to do other things. So yeah, just let's all make sure we can. Oh, I forgot about that. We're going to need to draft that email for you, Jared, right, as well. And we want to get that done by tomorrow.
Yeah, the email to the offices about setting up a meeting.
Okay.
Although Rebe just showed us a draft, so Rebe, you want to post that somewhere in our Google Drive that we can work off of that as a beginning draft?
Sure. Yeah, I can definitely do that.
So I just want to briefly mention I mentioned it in the executive team meeting today, and so I will continue to follow up with them, but we requested that they ask their team members to write reviews on Handshake, so that we can, continue to have all of that positive feedback posted for all of the prospective students to see. And then in an executive team meeting tonight, we talked about doing like a testimonial video for each team member. And the recruitment team was going to handle creating questions or sort of a guide for each of the team leaders to use in order to conduct these. So maybe that's something we can focus on the second half of the week after we get the job postings up.
Yeah, and we have some historical stuff, so we're not starting from scratch with that. We'll just have to dig it up.
So maybe, starting on Wednesday, if we haven't gotten back, the outreach and production team job postings, we can sort of simultaneously work on this and have that done by, or at least have a pretty good working draft done by next Monday, so that we can start actually conducting these. Is that okay with you, Jared?
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
Then we can present it to the executive team, or would you rather it be done by Friday so you can look it over the weekend?
Well, I'm also just wondering when we can actually schedule them, because I think I would like to probably schedule a bunch of them Monday and Tuesday of next week. So maybe it would be good to have it Friday and then be able to send it to all the team members on Friday and work with them on scheduling the interviews for Monday and Tuesday. So does that work?
Yeah, so getting it to you by Friday then?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that work for everybody else?
That's going to be something that's not going to take, that we're not going to devote a lot of time to that. That's going to be relatively straightforward, I think. We'll be able to do that. Yeah. Okay, good.
And then, yeah, I created this tutorial list that I sent to everybody in the meeting last week. There's a link to it. I've added some. So far, the ones on here that are here, I am planning on doing myself, but I think this is just a good place to have a running list of tutorials. If you think of something that would be helpful to put into a couple-minute tutorial, you can add it to the list and either add your name, or if you think somebody else would be better to do it, we can do that as well. And then I just had like brainstorming. I asked everybody to brainstorm. So here's some of just, my ideas, what we could do to actively recruit. Should we be making phone calls? We could utilize the student group HubSpot account. We haven't used that yet, but we do have it all set up. I did migrate all of that data a couple months ago, or a month ago.
Yeah, it's really great. It's really great that we have all that. So yes, let's definitely continue the brainstorming in our chat and be actively brainstorming, especially, ways that Rebbe can best use their time, and some of these other things in terms of like what we can do with the student groups in general and that sort of thing, for sure.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you for that. Let me pull up what I was working on over the weekend so we can get wrapped up here quickly. Okay, so what I was doing is I was going through the framework, and I was working on finding like the types of people that would do different things. So the channels, for people that are interested in helping to build out the channels, they can be almost like collectors, right? They're collecting articles, they're collecting nonprofits, they're collecting corporations that are interested. So I'm trying to like focus on like what is the function of different people that that could be part of the project. So we have the collectors around the channels, and then around the pool of pledged resources, that's kind of like the networkers, the salespeople, the customer relationship people. So are you guys seeing how we're kind of like finding different types of almost like career paths within each of these processes? Experts, research, solutions and strategy, like engineering, business, implementation, project management, awareness, dissemination, production. So I'm doing, I'm trying to like find like what are the job titles in the world that we can translate into our framework and into what we're doing. And I think that there's going to be, quite a bit of that. And that still doesn't even include what I was just showing you in terms of like the website programming. That's a big thing that we have to, recruit for specifically. The video editing, video processing, all of these very specialized things. So we still have a lot of what I feel, need to be a lot of really specialized types of positions. And there can easily be like 10, from what I just described, that are separate and in addition to the teams themselves, right? Which is essentially why, again, we really need some guidance from these offices, because like we've talked about, like, are they going to be cool with us posting 5 different job postings for our 5 different teams, and then another 10 job postings for all these different specialized skills that we're recruiting for, right? So I think, and like we've talked about too, we can post everything we want on the website, and I think we should. So there's that. And then there's just a matter of what parts that we have on the website go make it into Handshake for these different schools. And that I think is going to be, essentially what we're going to be talking with them about when we have these meetings, is like, here's everything that we have now of what we have, what do you want us to post on your Handshake for your school, or how do you want us to approach your students? So anyway, since we have to wrap up now, it's just that there's some more depth there, right, of extracting these specialized job descriptions and job postings out of our new, format. And like you just said, Cassidy, I also want to make something really clear about, the opportunities to use this system and use the system to create results, and what that whole like design your own practicum type of thing can look like, and how that gets described and how that gets offered to students, right? So anyways, there's just a lot of depth there, and that's where I think we are going to have a bunch of hours, that are going to be required for a lot of that. But I think, let's leave it where we've left it for now, where we've got our hours, through Wednesday allocated, and then I'll keep working on these things, and then we'll just see, how else we need to be allocating our hours, throughout the week. So does that sound good? Okay. Okay, great. Any questions or comments before we wrap up here? Okay, quick applause for everyone on the team for all the great work. Thank you, Cassidy, for your great leadership, and Tatiana and Rebe for your great contributions and great ideas. And yeah, thank you everybody for the dedication. It's a lot on our plates, and it's important, and I really appreciate everyone's contributions and energy in this. So thank you so much, team. Yay.
Thank you.
Go
Have a
team.
great day. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes, have a great night. Bye-bye.